So Joe, tell me about this vehicle.
So this is a 2023 Hummer EV. This was one of the vehicles that we had crash tested, and we wanted to take on road with us and show, again, allow first responders to see the structure and the way that we've designed, for crashworthiness forces. What we wanted to show was that we had done a very traditional dash roll procedure. So we cut the A pillar. This is the A pillar, this is the B pillar, and some vehicles have C pillars, but they,
And just to be clear, dash roll procedure is to get the dash off of somebody who might have been in a crash
and is impinged and has the dash on their knees or on their laps, and you can't safely extricate or pull someone out. So a dash roll is a very common procedure that any first responder, anybody that is in the fire service, emergency service would know about. And what we showed them was that you can make a cut, in the lower part of the A pillar and then on the upper part of the A pillar, and then just use that frame to spread and get the dash off of the occupant. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of folks don't know, and again, first responders, we show them those rescue documents, we show them that rescue information, is that all of the high voltage components, including the battery and the drive motors, are typically located very low in the vehicle. It gives low center of gravity and great performance characteristics, but it's also out of any no cut zones, right? So you don't have high voltage wires, high voltage cablings running through that you might be concerned about cutting or in performing your emergency response.
Is that typical among all of your vehicles?
It is typical across all of our vehicles, and I will say not necessarily universally, but it is becoming more and more common that those high voltage packs, they're growing in size, and we have a high voltage pack here that runs from wheel well to wheel well and side rail to side rail. These batteries are pretty large. People want to go further between charges, or they want different performance characteristics, so the batteries are larger. And again, these are all lithium-ion batteries, and General Motors Ultium cells. We can talk about that a little bit, and our pouch cell design and our battery chemistry. But what we showed here and gave first responders, again, a hands-on opportunity to get up close and personal and see some of the underlying structure and see the dash straps and see the ways that they would not have any otherwise, right? You can't get this type of exposure, this type of experience looking on a screen or even looking at a piece of paper. But we wanted to show them, again, this training aid was used as the background for our OnStar public safety outreach lead, who himself is a retired fire chief here in Southeast Michigan, to give trainings on extrication and telematics and OnStar as a emergency services enabler.
How much training have you done so far?
Over the past year, we've done over 25 different locations, again, hands-on training. We've reached and trained over 5,000 first responders. A great representation of that is this Bolt EUV that we've got behind us. It's got patches and stickers from some of the over 700 different departments that we registered and trained. And again, that training we approached really methodically and professionally, and we gave the training in 4-hour sessions, and we had them take a post-training check on learning, an assessment, and when they did that assessment, they got a certificate of completion that hopefully they could take to their supervisors or their training officers and get credit for those 4 hours that they spent in our training course.
Where are the batteries generally located?
Batteries, high voltage batteries, are generally located low in the vehicle, below the level of the rocker panel, and again, based on the size, generally between wheel well to wheel well, frame rail to frame rail. There are low voltage batteries, the idea for providing low voltage 12 volt systems to provide power to the battery, or sorry, to the infotainment, to the radio, to the telematics module, to the lights and other types of things. Those are still resident on these vehicles as well. That is not changing, and a lot of these vehicles will have standalone 12 volt battery systems as well.
I imagine that one of the challenges of having the batteries all down low in the vehicles is that to get under there, to cool those compartments when there is a fire, for example, takes some doing.
So our recommendation is not to attack necessarily from underneath in all circumstances. It's not even to, there are other manufacturers that make what we think is inane, recommendations to prop up the vehicle, to jack up the vehicle. Well, if the vehicle's, been involved or is involved in a thermal event, why would you want to try to even jack it up and attack from the bottom? what we have said in our training is that the best way to approach a fire incident, a thermal incident in an electric vehicle, is to get water directly into the battery.
And how do you do that?
Whether that could be, well, the flames or the fire may make an entrance, it may force an entrance, in the battery compartment, it may, come about in the passenger compartment. One technique that we've discussed in our trainings is put water inside the vehicle and let gravity do its work and water get to the insides of the battery pack, but jacking it up or necessarily always attacking it from the bottom, we don't know that that's, always going to be the recommended approach.
What about piercing the compartment?
We do not recommend piercing the compartment. And there are tools out there that claim, and again, you don't know where you're going to pierce in the battery compartment. You don't know if you're going to pierce into a fully functional battery pack or battery module. If you blindly pierce into an area and start applying water, we don't think that's the smartest approach right now either.
Foam?
Foam is not effective. Water is the only thing that's effective in lithium-ion fires, and again, that goes from any other consumer electronic product, from laptops, cell phones, scooters, e-bikes. What you're trying to do is cool the battery from the inside, get the water to the source of the heat. Foams may be efficient in dealing with polyurethane or other types of fires, but lithium-ion fires, water is the only thing that we recommend. Copious amounts of water.
That was it.
Was that not rehearsal?
Yeah, okay, we'll do that all over again. No.
That's
great.
So I am super proud that we went all across the country.
Yeah.
Again, the only automaker committing to going into the communities that are serving all of us, to dispel rumors, to dispel myths, to satisfy concerns that they have in this all-electric future that General Motors is committed to. We think that only by direct engagement and getting the truth out there, again with subject matter experts and trusted collaborative partners, are we going to be able to change minds and change opinions. Our website has a great deal of other resources and information that people can go and get information from. It's gmevfirstrrespondertraining.com, and it's got all of those rescue documents that I showed you, Usher. It's got links to the Society of Automotive Engineers SAE J2990 document. It's got information there on General Motors' commitments to vehicle safety, to electrification, to electrifying fleets and delivery solutions through GM Involve. We've got a bunch of information that we'd love to get promoted and have people understand that General Motors is committed to this in the broadest way. Safety is a bedrock for General Motors, and we're also concerned about the safety of the first responders too.
So would you say it's fair to say that your position is that electric vehicles aren't necessarily more dangerous in terms of thermal events, they're just different?
Yeah, they're different, but one of the overriding messages that we give in the training is that the vast majority of your emergency response techniques and procedures will look remarkably similar. There will be an adjustment for an all-electric future, but it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to embrace and something to understand that folks like General Motors have committed to the safety of the product before they go on the road. They're rigorously tested, whether that's physical crash testing or on-road testing or simulation testing through computer-aided means. We're committed to the safety of the product, to all of the applicable regulations and crash standards before they enter into consumers' hands. By this effort of going out and training face-to-face and hands-on and providing exposure and opportunities for them to ask subject matter experts very challenging questions, we hope that we are changing the mindset and saying that these vehicles and the product that General Motors puts out into consumers' hands are safe. And we want first responders to know some of the recommended procedures that exist through organizations like SAE or National Fire Protection Association. Codes are evolving just like they always will for building and installation of EV service equipment or charging infrastructure. But the product that we put out there is rigorously tested, and we stand behind the safety of it.